Welcome back to the channel, Rare Coins History, Treasure Hunters, and Coin Lovers. Today's episode takes us deep into the pockets of American history, literally. We're going to explore a coin that's often mistaken for ordinary but could secretly be worth a life-changing amount of money. That's right, we're talking about the 1967 Washington quarter dollar, a coin so common, you might walk past it without a second glance. But some rare versions of this unassuming coin are turning heads in the numismatic world, and we're going to tell you why. So grab a cup of coffee, pull out your coin jars, and stay with us until the very end, because you won't believe just how much one of these coins might be worth today. Let's rewind the clock back to 1967. America was in the midst of transformation, culturally, politically, and economically. The Vietnam War was raging, the summer of love was blooming, and coinage in the United States was undergoing a major change. Just 2 years prior, the U.S. Mint had stopped producing quarters with silver content due to rising silver prices. By 1967, quarters were being struck from a copper-nickel clad composition, no silver, just layers of copper and nickel fused together. So, if the 1967 quarter wasn't made of silver, and millions were minted, why are collectors so obsessed with it? Well, it's not about what meets the eye, it's about what lies beneath the surface. Unlike most years, quarters from 1967 were minted without any mint marks. That's right, no tiny D for Denver, no S for San Francisco, not even a P for Philadelphia. The reason? The U.S. Mint had temporarily removed mint marks from coins during the mid-60s to discourage hoarding and speculation, but here's where it gets interesting. While the official word is that no quarters from 1967 should carry a mint mark, there are whispers, confirmed by some collectors, of rare errors or anomalies that defy the rule. Coins with unusual features, questionable origins, or accidental markings have been popping up in coin shows, auctions, and private collections. These coins don't just bend the rules, they break them. And that's what makes them so valuable. Imagine finding a 1967 quarter that somehow escaped the mint with a slight misstrike. Or maybe a double die error where the design appears slightly doubled due to a rare misalignment during minting. Even more incredible? Some collectors claim to have found quarters with a faint mint mark accidentally struck on them, perhaps by mistake during the minting transition. These coins are like the Bigfoot of the numismatic world, rare, mysterious, and hotly debated, but the magic of the 1967 quarter doesn't end with mint errors. Condition matters too, big time. Most of the 1967 quarters were heavily circulated. You'll find them with scratches, dings, and years of wear. But a coin in uncirculated condition, one that looks like it just left the mint yesterday, is a different story. These coins are known as MS coins, or mint state, and they're graded on a scale up to 70. Now, imagine a 1967 quarter in MS67 or MS68 condition, a virtually flawless example of American minting precision. These high-grade coins are incredibly rare and highly sought after. There are only a handful known to exist, and when they do appear in auctions, bidding wars erupt among collectors desperate to own a piece of history in perfect form. Collectors aren't just paying a premium for condition or error, there's also the allure of nostalgia. The Washington quarter itself has been a staple of American currency since 1932, honoring the country's first president. But the 1967 issue stands apart. It's from a time of national upheaval and rapid change. Owning one is like holding a sliver of 1960s America in your hand, and here's a fun fact: if you flip your 1967 quarter and it has a sharp strike, clean rim, and no visible wear, you might be looking at something special. Look closely. Is the lettering bold? Are there any unusual lines, doubling, or signs of misalignment? Any unusual shine or rainbow-like toning? These are all indicators that your coin could be something much more than spare change. And now, let's talk about the ultimate thrill of coin collecting, the jackpot moment. It's that once-in-a-lifetime discovery where a humble coin turns out to be a rare treasure. And yes, it's happened with the 1967 Washington quarter. One such example? A flawlessly preserved 1967 quarter with a unique minting anomaly and pristine grading shocked the coin world when it fetched a stunning price at a private sale. And what was that final price tag? Get ready, because that quarter sold for $80,000. That's right. A single 25-cent coin, lost in time, sold for the kind of money that could buy a car, pay off debt, or fund a dream vacation, all because someone took the time to examine a coin the world had forgotten. So here's the takeaway: check your change. Look through that old jar in your attic. That 1967 quarter rattling around in your drawer might not just be pocket change. It might be a golden ticket disguised in copper and nickel. Today, we're zooming in on a coin that might seem ordinary at first glance, but under the right conditions, could be hiding a small fortune in plain sight. We're talking about the 1982 Washington quarter dollar with mint mark. Yes, a coin millions of Americans spent on candy, soda, or arcade games back in the day could now be worth far more than you ever imagined. So before you dismiss that old pocket change, stick around, because the story behind this coin is a roller coaster of history, mistakes, rarity, and value. To understand why the 1982 quarter is so important, we need to look at what was happening during that time. The early 1980s were a period of economic pressure in the United States. Inflation was high, interest rates were soaring, and the U.S. Mint was trying to cut costs wherever it could. That included some big decisions that had lasting effects on the coins we use every day, even decades later. 1982 was the year the U.S. Mint stopped producing proof sets for collectors. Instead of releasing polished, flawless coins packaged in beautiful display cases, the Mint focused solely on striking business coins, the ones meant for everyday use. No proof sets, no mint sets, just circulation coins. That might not sound like a big deal, but for collectors, it meant one thing: fewer perfect examples of that year's coins would survive, and that's where things get interesting with the Washington quarter. The 1982 quarter was minted in two locations, Philadelphia and Denver. You can tell where your coin came from by the tiny letter just to the right of Washington's ponytail on the front of the coin. A D means it was made in Denver. A missing letter, or the absence of a mint mark, indicates Philadelphia. Normally, this wouldn't be a big deal. But in 1982, the difference between these coins became much more significant than anyone expected, because the Mint skipped making collector-grade sets that year. Most of the quarters that survived were heavily circulated. They were used daily, tossed in vending machines, slipped into parking meters, and jingled in pockets for years. So finding a 1982 quarter with a clear mint mark in pristine, mint state condition became a serious challenge for collectors. Even more mysterious? Some quarters from 1982 were struck with extremely faint or incomplete mint marks, a result of worn dies or inconsistent striking pressure during production. These unusual traits didn't just make the coins unique, they made them highly collectible. And now here's where things start to heat up. In recent years, coin collectors and treasure hunters have started paying closer attention to coins from 1982. Why? Because they're discovering how truly rare a high-grade 1982 Washington quarter with a clear mint mark actually is. Coins that have survived the decades without a single scratch, nick, or smudge, those are the coins that collectors are fighting over. Take a moment to examine your own coins. Look for a 1982 quarter. Does it have a visible D for Denver? Is the lettering sharp? Does it still have its original shine? Are the details crisp on Washington's hair, face, and the eagle's feathers on the back? If so, you may want to take that coin very seriously, and let's not forget the grading scale. Coins are professionally graded on a scale from 1 to 70. Anything above 60 is considered uncirculated. But coins that reach MS-67 or higher are so rare from 1982 that they've been fetching eye-popping prices at auctions. The right coin, with the right combination of features, perfect strike, full luster, clear mint mark, and zero damage, can be worth more than just collector interest. It can be worth serious money, but here's the twist. A very specific and incredibly rare 1982 Washington quarter with a Denver mint mark was submitted to a major coin grading company. It came back with an unbelievable grade, almost flawless. That coin turned heads across the numismatic world and sent collectors scrambling to search through their own stashes. What made it so special was the combination of rarity, exceptional condition, and a well-defined mint mark from a year when that was almost unheard of. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, that exact 1982 Washington quarter dollar, with a Denver mint mark, in virtually perfect mint condition, sold at auction for a jaw-dropping total of $84,000. That's right. One single quarter, just 25 cents when it was minted, turned into a windfall that could buy a luxury car, pay off student loans, or fund a dream trip around the world. And the craziest part? It didn't come from a bank vault or a museum, it came from circulation. From someone who had the eye, the patience, and the passion to recognize its hidden value. So the next time you get change at the grocery store or dig into that old coffee can of coins in your garage, take a closer look. The 1982 Washington quarter might just be hiding in there, waiting for the right person to notice it. Today, we're diving deep into a coin that most people wouldn't give a second glance to. But hidden among the millions minted, there are a few rare versions of the 1988 Washington quarter dollar that are driving collectors wild and selling for more than the average annual salary. So sit back, grab your coins, and stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for and how a simple 25-cent coin could change your life. Let's begin with the basics. The Washington quarter has been a staple of U.S. currency since 1932, created to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. For decades, it's been jingling in pockets, sliding into soda machines, and piling up in glove compartments across the country. But some years and some mint marks hold secrets that only trained eyes can spot. In 1988, the U.S. Mint was striking quarters at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, just as it had done for years. You can tell which mint produced your quarter by looking at the letter on the front of the coin, to the right of Washington's ponytail. A small p means it was struck in Philadelphia, and a D means Denver. Sounds routine, right? So, why all the excitement around 1988? Here's where things get interesting. Unlike most coins from the late 1980s, a small number of 1,988 quarters with mint marks have surfaced in recent years with unexpected features, traits that were never meant to be there. We're talking about die errors, off-center strikes, misaligned mint marks, and even double dies, all mistakes that happened during the minting process, and all things that coin collectors absolutely love. Let's talk about what some of these errors mean. Imagine a coin where the mint mark is stamped slightly out of place, maybe lower than usual, or tilted at an odd angle. That's called a misplaced mint mark, and while it may look like a tiny detail, to collectors, it's a major rarity. Now picture a 1988 quarter where the design looks ever so slightly doubled, as if someone hit the die twice by mistake. That's a doubled die error, and it's one of the most valuable types of minting mistakes in the collecting world. Suddenly, what looks like a normal coin becomes a once-in-a-generation find. There are even stories of 1988 quarters struck on the wrong metal planchet. Imagine a quarter accidentally struck on a nickel blank, or even a foreign coin blank. These minting anomalies are incredibly scarce, and when they appear, they spark bidding wars in coin auctions. But it's not just the errors that collectors chase. Condition is king. The vast majority of 1988 quarters were used daily, meaning they were exposed to decades of wear, rubbing against other coins, passing through hands, tossed into cash registers. Those are considered circulated coins, but a select few were never touched. They were either set aside by collectors or preserved in rolls, untouched since the day they left the mint. These are known as uncirculated coins, and they are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. Coins graded MS65 or higher, meaning mint state and nearly perfect, are exceptionally rare for 1988 quarters, especially with mint marks. A quarter from 1988 with a clear, bold strike, brilliant shine, and zero visible flaws could become a highlight in any serious collection. And when you combine that with a rare mint error or a low production variety, the value of that single coin skyrockets. Now imagine this. A collector walking through a flea market spots a coin dealer with a dusty old box of loose change. They casually sort through it, flipping coins with their thumb. And then, they pause. Something catches their eye. A 1988 quarter. At first glance, it looks normal. But then they see it, a slightly misaligned mint mark, a strange shine, flawless detail. Could it be they buy the coin for $1? Later, they send it off to be professionally graded. Weeks later, the results are in. The coin is in near perfect mint state, and the error is confirmed, a true rarity. That's the kind of story that makes the coin world so exciting. Because these aren't just stories, they're real finds made by real people, often when they least expect it. Now, I know you've been waiting for this moment. You've been wondering, okay, but how much can this actually be worth? Well, here's the jaw-dropping truth. A near-perfect, mint-marked 1988 Washington quarter dollar featuring an extremely rare error and graded at the highest mint state level was recently verified and sold in a private auction for a staggering total of $77,000. That's right. A simple quarter, once destined for a vending machine or a pocket full of loose change, transformed into a once-in-a-lifetime windfall. All because someone knew what to look for. So, what are you waiting for? Go check your coin collection. Look through your pocket change. Flip over those forgotten jars sitting in your kitchen drawer. That 1988 Washington quarter you've been overlooking might just be the next big discovery. Today, we're turning our spotlight onto a coin that's been jingling in American pockets for nearly 50 years, the 1974 Washington quarter. But this isn't just any quarter. We're talking about those special 1974 quarters with a mint mark that could be hiding an astonishing value. Most people see the 1974 quarter as just another everyday coin. After all, millions were minted that year. But if you take a closer look, there's a hidden world of numismatic secrets and rare finds that make certain coins from this year a collector's dream. So, what makes the 1974 Washington quarter with a mint mark so interesting? Let's start by peeling back the layers. The 1970s were a transformative decade in the United States. The country was moving through a time of political change, economic shifts, and cultural evolution. Coins from this era reflect more than just monetary value, they tell a story about the nation's journey. In 1974, quarters were minted in two primary locations, Philadelphia and Denver. You can tell where your coin came from by looking for a small letter on the front side, just to the right of Washington's ponytail. A D indicates Denver, and no mint mark means Philadelphia, but here's the catch. While many quarters from 1974 are common, there are some rare varieties with mint marks that have fascinated collectors for decades. One of the biggest reasons collectors seek out 1974 quarters is due to die errors and unique minting variations that occasionally appear in coins from this year. These errors are tiny imperfections or mistakes made during the minting process, things like doubled dies where the design looks doubled or shifted, off-center strikes where the design isn't perfectly aligned, or even unusual planchets that were mistakenly used. Such errors may seem like defects, but to collectors, they're like gold mines. Why? Because errors are rare, often accidental, and tell a story about the coin's journey through the mint's machinery. Now, add to that the importance of condition. Most 1974 quarters were heavily circulated, passed from hand to hand, pocket to pocket, and machine to machine. Finding one that's still in uncirculated, mint state condition is already impressive. But finding a 1974 quarter with a clear, bold mint mark in pristine condition? That's a treasure. Collectors use a grading scale from 1 to 70 to rate coins, and coins graded MS65 or higher, meaning mint state and nearly flawless, from this year with a sharp mint mark can command a significant premium. There's another layer of rarity, coins with mint marks that were accidentally doubled or misplaced. For example, some 1974 quarters show faint or doubled mint marks that were struck more than once. These are extremely rare and sought after by collectors worldwide. Imagine holding one of these rare coins in your hand, shiny, perfectly struck, with a crisp Denver mint mark and an error that makes it unique. So, what could a coin like this be worth? Well, the value of a coin depends on several factors: rarity, condition, demand, and the specific errors or characteristics it carries. And in the world of rare coins, values can skyrocket when you have that perfect combination. To put things in perspective, a standard 1974 quarter in circulated condition is worth just its face value, 25 cents. But a rare, high-grade 1974 quarter with a Denver mint mark and a recognized error? That's a different story. Recently, one such coin was sold at auction, stunning the coin collecting community. Graded at an almost flawless mint state and featuring a rare mint mark error, the single 1974 Washington quarter reached an incredible final price of $70,000. Yes, $70,000 for a coin that once cost just a quarter. It's a perfect example of how much value can be hidden in plain sight. So, next time you're sorting through your coin jars, don't toss out those old quarters without a closer look. Check for the mint mark, examine the condition, and watch out for any unusual features like doubled mint marks or off-center designs. Who knows? You might just have the next big coin discovery right in your hand. Today we're taking a deep dive into a coin that's been quietly sitting in pockets and coin jars across the United States for decades, the 1977 Washington quarter with a mint mark. At first glance, it might seem like just another common quarter, but trust me, there's a fascinating story behind this coin that every collector and casual coin holder should know. And stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll find out why this particular quarter could be worth way more than you think. Let's start with some background. The Washington quarter has been an American icon since its introduction in 1932, commemorating the 200th birthday of our first president, George Washington. The coin's design has become so familiar that it's easy to overlook the little details that can make one quarter more valuable than another. Now, in 1977, quarters were minted primarily in two locations, Philadelphia and Denver. You can spot which mint your quarter came from by looking for a tiny letter near Washington's ponytail. A D means it was minted in Denver, while Philadelphia quarters typically don't have a mint mark at all. This small letter can make a huge difference when it comes to collector value. So, what makes the 1977 Washington quarter with a mint mark so special? Well, while millions of these quarters were produced for everyday use, some rare variations and minting errors from that year have turned into highly sought-after collectibles. These include things like doubled dies, where the coin's details appear doubled due to a mistake during the minting process, or misplaced mint marks, where the mint mark isn't exactly where it's supposed to be. One of the most intriguing features collectors look for in 1977 quarters is the quality of the strike and the coin's condition. Over the years, most of these coins have been heavily circulated, bumped, scratched, and worn down by everyday transactions. But when a coin is found in near mint or mint state condition, with sharp details and its original luster, it becomes extremely valuable. Imagine this: a 1977 Washington quarter with a clear D mint mark, perfectly struck details on Washington's profile, and no visible wear or damage. This coin would stand out instantly to any serious collector. And if that same coin also shows signs of a rare error, such as a doubled mint mark or an off-center strike, it becomes even more of a treasure. Why do collectors pay so much attention to these details? Because coins with errors or unique features are often produced in very limited quantities. They are accidental pieces of history that tell a story about the minting process itself. These rare variations are like finding a hidden gem in a sea of ordinary coins. Now, let's talk about condition grading, which is a big factor in the value of any coin. Grading ranges from poor to perfect mint condition. Coins graded MS65 and above, meaning they are uncirculated and virtually flawless, are incredibly hard to come by for a coin as old as the 1977 quarter. Such high-grade coins with mint marks and rare variations command a premium price. So, how much could a 1977 Washington quarter with a mint mark be worth if it's in exceptional condition and possibly has a minting error? Well, the numismatic community was stunned when a recent auction sold one such coin, a 1977 Denver minted quarter with an extremely rare minting error, graded in pristine mint condition, for an astonishing $79,000. Yes, you heard that right. $79,000 for a single quarter that was once just everyday pocket change. This just goes to show that the value of a coin isn't always in the face value, it's in the story, the rarity, and the condition that can turn an ordinary coin into an extraordinary find. So, the next time you're sorting through your change or your old coin collection, take a moment to inspect those 1977 quarters a little more closely. Check the mint mark, look for any unusual markings or double details, and if you happen to find a quarter that's in amazing condition, don't overlook it. It could be worth far more than you ever imagined. If you found this video helpful and want to learn more about rare coins and their hidden values, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell. I'll be bringing you more incredible stories from the world of coin collecting, and you won't want to miss a single one. Thanks for watching, happy hunting, and as always, keep your eyes open, because your next big treasure might be just one coin away.